Lovely hands. Look at Shield go. He just arched the back and took off and kicked a long ball to Tipper and got him.
Shield's back. Good morning, Nathan.
Good morning, Sam. How are you today?
A little bit less enthusiastic than you. But
I'm, excited. Got to have something to live for in this COVID period, and it really is just football.
I'm sure there's more than that. But yes.
Oh, well, the Olympics.
Yeah, go Olyroos.
Aren't they the Socceroos?
I thought it was the young guys. The Olyroos, the younger ones, beat.
Oh. Well, who knows? Anyway, football.
This is why we do a football podcast, not a soccer podcast. Yes, Shield's back, presumably, with Zaharakis. Oh, I've already forgotten.
And Nick Bryan.
Nick Bryan.
And named as the ins and no outs, obviously, because it's a Sunday game. So we'll find out the full team tonight. What, at 5:30? 6?
6 o'clock normally, yes. Thank you for that. For the Giants, out is Jeremy Finlayson and omitted. Matt Flynn injured. In is Jake Riccardi, James Peatling, Lockie Ash, Lockie Whitfield, and Shane Mumford. The assumed changes there
Big
are
mummy.
Mumford and Whitfield.
Yes.
For them. Josh Kelly plays.
Although they do have, they haven't made a big deal of Josh Peating, which is when they put a new player in, I'm always again
that's harsh. I actually watched Leon Cameron or one of the GWS things popped up on my Facebook. I don't like them. It just popped up.
Sure, Sam.
And they said Mumford will come in for Flynn, who was injured, and Whitfield will play. So that's just my assumed changes for now.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, that seems practical.
A lot more about them.
What would you say the assumed changes for Essendon? Then who goes out for?
Just finish my train of thought here. Josh Kelly plays for the Giants after rolling his ankle last week. His 150th game.
We don't need to make a notice of him playing opposition player playing in 150, Sam.
It's called respect, which at the Giants gets you life membership, which I find interesting.
What, you don't get it at 100?
Well, not normally at clubs. It's a lot more than that, I thought. It's just at the Giants. They haven't got many 150 gamers. Anyway, Josh Kelly, congratulations if you're listening and you want to come to Essendon.
Shut up about the Giants. Let's move to the Bombers.
Trying to just lose the tone?
No.
Zaharakis, Shield, Bryan, Truck said, and I roughly quote, that it's good to bring experienced players back into the squad. In Shield and Zaharakis will get through training tomorrow, i.e. today, and finalise the squad. So that kind of indicates that Shield and Zaharakis will come in. I assume Shield being named, he will come in for sure. I don't think that name Shield, if there was no intent for him to come in. If he was a question mark over his fitness, I don't think they would have named him. I think they would have.
No, I agree. I think that you wouldn't make a deal of a player like that unless you think they're going to play. Obviously, you've got till today to make sure he gets through training. Everything's cherry ripe. The question goes back again then, who do you think are the outs? Who would be your best guess? We're just a best guess at the moment.
It is possibly unpopular opinion that Ham will go out.
It's not unpopular, I agree with that.
You agree that that's just me and you. There was a bit of...
They're not doing podcasts, Ham.
No, there was enough talk last week that Ham was quite good. I thought he had some decent moments, but Shield's an upgrade. So that's footy. Zaharakis, I don't see who he comes in for unless there's an injury. Do you have something to say?
I guess who was our medical sub or whatever the thing's called last week?
Gleeson, he didn't play.
Does Zaharakis take that role? Like, is it Ham out, Shield in, and then Marty Gleeson out, and Zaharakis takes, because Zaharakis in the games that he's been used in the team has mostly been the medical sub, hasn't it? Because I guess he has the ability to play a few roles.
He wouldn't come into the side as the medical sub though. That would be a change. He'd be on the emergency bench and then be the medical sub.
Fair enough. Sorry, you know the stuff better than me.
fairly. I'm just having a look from last week. Durham's another one. It would be harsh. It would be
You couldn't
harsh,
say he
but
played well. Like even the
he's
coaches during the week talked him up.
he is playing the role that Shield may well play.
Yeah, but he'll go and play it more of a
Actually,
halfback. Anyway,
there's two others that might go out there. Then Guelphy and Waterman.
Waterman maybe, but I would
I thought
Guelphy.
Guelphy was okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess we're guessing, we're speculating, but for me, I think it's Ham. I agree with that. I don't think he's up to standard yet. I'm not saying he won't ever get there, but he's the first cut for me.
I think he's the 23rd.
Yeah, he's the 23rd player on that list. I think I would normally say Tom Cutler, but
He's okay.
I think that they're persisting with him because of
And
what
he's
he gives to the team.
Well, he's in the guts as well.
Yeah. He's just purely, I think, from a physical perspective, he's the fact that he's several inches taller than Ham and plays more of an outside, and maybe he's a little bit more patient. I don't think his disposal is much better. But anyway, and the fact I'm also going with it, Tom Cutler is named on the ball, whereas Ham and Guelphy are named on the bench. So, from a fan's perspective, I'm always a bit more nervous if my players are named on the bench because I think, oh God, they could be the first to go.
So, we last played the Giants in round 8 this year.
Yep, great game.
We lost by 2 points, but it was, like you say, good game to watch, good game of football against. At the time, you would have said a GWS side that should have been a lot better than us in Sydney as well.
Mm-hmm.
Notable changes from that team. Aaron Francis played. Kyle Langford played.
Yep, McGrath.
Stringer got injured about halfway through or before half time. So he didn't play half the game. Andrew Phillips played. And Pidge played as well.
Yeah, Pidge.
So a few changes there. Stringer obviously is in some different form to that point. Would you say he had 5 touches and no goals?
Whereas he's in probably the best form. He's just signed. Although the worry now is he signed the contract.
He signed the deal, so
his form could go to shit for all we know now. Could go, oh well, 3 years, boys, you're stuck with me.
So happy.
You know how once you've done your performance review, Sam, and you get through that, you're like, your next few months of work are a bit. They've signed me up for another 12 months. I really don't have to worry.
Oh, fine. For them, I guess the big one is Whitfield did play last time. The fact that Kelly's got up is probably big for them as well. Their midfield goes back to that pretty scary Taranto, Kelly, Whitfield kind of midfield. So it'll be a good contest for our mids. Good test for our mids. Taranto in particular has been in some pretty good form for the Giants. In terms of the actual game itself, Zach Merritt was our best, 37 touches and 2 behinds.
As it always
which
is.
is interesting. Das had his obligatory 35 and 7 clearances. Nick Hind had one of his better games for us, 29 touches. Langers had 20. Heppel, 27 off halfback. Ever reliable Dyson. Goals. Langford kicked 3. Harry Jones 2, Tipper 2, Snelling 2, Peter Wright 2, and then Cox, Guelphy, Hooker, Perkins, and Redmond. I believe that was Perkins' first goal. So
and I also like to mention too in that previous game in round 8, from my memory, I might be wrong, that I remember that a lot of the game we were sort of 20 points behind them. Like, we'd kick it.
So that's a good point,
we never really, it was only in that last quarter, in the last few minutes when we kicked, I think, the last few goals to make it very close. So the 2 points could make it look a little bit better. But we're never blown away, but we never. Yeah. I think we barely led the game. We might have led.
That is a good point. We kicked the first goal of the day.
Yep.
And then
probably didn't lead again.
Never led. We got margins out to about 5 goals.
Yep.
Twice. So we got it. It came out to 5 goals. Then we called it back. Then they got out to 5 goals again, and we called it back.
Which was the way we were playing football there for a while, and we sort of still do it. If we can move on then, I guess, from that game to how we're playing, if that can be our segue, Sam, as we do love, that what we probably learned from last week is that our team defence, or our, whatever you might call it, field defence last week was pretty poor. for the first half, the way North Melbourne exposed us with their kicking. Like they basically moved the ball from the full back line to the full forward line without us even stopping them or slowing them down, several times, didn't they?
Yep.
And it was purely by the fact that their inside 50 kick was poor that we probably didn't get hurt. So that's something we'll have to be a lot better at this week against the Giants, is our team or field defence.
Yeah. And if I can anti-segue just back onto that game for a second.
No, once we've left, you can't go back, Sam.
We had more ball than them. We had 12 more inside 50s than them, and they actually had more scoring shots. So that we weren't really thinking about that then, but that became an issue where we're getting plenty of ball inside 50.
Yeah.
But not able to really do much with it. So that's just a recurring theme.
It is. It's something we're seeing a lot of now, aren't we? It's becoming pretty consistent. We can get the ball inside 50. It's sometimes how we're getting in inside 50 and what's happening with it when it gets in there.
And I think there was a bit more of an emphasis last week on lowering the eyes and hitting the target.
Yep, agree.
Bit of execution going awry there, but I think we took a few marks inside 50 last week, probably our highest for a little while. So hopefully they can keep doing that. Giants are possibly the most inconsistent side in the comp at the moment,
but can't pick them.
They've got class in that team, and to beat class, you've got to be good. And if we get the ball inside 50 and it's poor entries, they're gonna probably have a field day.
Well, I would say on that I think the thing will be, for me, is that their strength around the contest. So they probably would be better at contested possession than us. That'll be a big challenge for us because we felt last week going into North Melbourne that might have been one of our easy wins, Turned out...
You had some stats on this, didn't you?
Well, I think I was looking somewhere that, so competition wide, just give me a sec, Sam, if you could just fill. I did see somewhere, I read just earlier, that can't find it now, that they are beating us by a fair bit in contested possessions throughout the year as an average. So that makes sense to me when I saw that. I go, well, that's their strength. That's the GWS way, that they want to win it in a contest and then spread and get out and go forward.
Yeah, and they're pretty quick on the outside.
Yep, that's how they play their footy. Whereas we're probably not. Well, we're trying to get to that level, but I don't think we're there yet. We're not so good in a contested possession. Guys like Stringer are helping that.
Absolutely, and Das has become that
definitely
player as well, but Merritt never really was that player.
No, we don't expect him to be. You can't have
it elsewhere.
Yep.
And you mentioned another stat, I thought, where we are on top of them to me earlier. Question without notice.
Without notice. Yeah, no, I don't know that one, Sam.
Okay, well, that's unfortunate.
It was probably inside 50s. I think it was actually.
Yeah.
So we're our numbers of two things. When I looked at the stats, two things that stood out. Our numbers of inside 50s, as we've said, are pretty good competition wide. And the other thing was efficiency. Strangely enough, by efficiency with ball, we are slightly 77 to 74. I think it was better than them with how we use a football.
That's what you said to me. We are better with the football. We're 77%. I remember that now.
Which I found fascinating.
As just some numbers to back up what you're saying, we
don't need numbers, Sam. I've already said it.
No, we do need numbers to just look like we know what we're talking about. We're averaging 111 contested possessions, which is actually second lowest in the competition. But GWS are averaging 118, which is only fourth bottom. So neither are really a contested ball side. And for your inside 50s, GWS is third overall, and we are seventh. So not much of a difference in average there.
I guess they'll be affected by, well, if Kelly doesn't play, that'll hurt them. I mean,
I did that thing again where I did it round the wrong way.
you did run the wrong way, so
Yep,
we are
so
better
GWS
than
the third last, and we
Yep.
have
seventh last. You're not very good at that, Sam, eh?
The arrows don't make sense to me. Arrows up.
Arrows don't make sense to you.
Down.
That's a bit of a worry.
Arrows down is up. That's, yep.
Anyway, I guess it'll come down to. Oh, sorry. I thought I was leading for you to answer that.
Well, it'll come down to, that was kind of like you were going to keep talking. I think you're right. What you've said already that, again, well, I mean, every week it feels like we say this, but we can win the ball out of the midfield. That to me isn't an area of concern anymore. If we get smacked in the midfield, it'll just be because our mids have an off day and we move on.
Yeah, but I think it's a bit different in this game because I think their midfield is probably better. Well, is better than ours, and that's because I think of the players we're missing. And I'm not expecting the world from Shield in his first game back. To be honest, I'm expecting a pretty ordinary game.
We have talked about Shield a bit. I don't know on the pod or not, but my theory is with him, just let him play let him be a
where does he play, Sam?
On the wing. Let him be.
But that's not what he normally plays.
Let me finish. Let him play. Let him be damaging going forward. We don't need to put a lot on him.
Defensively.
A lot on his defensive side of his game.
I don't love that comment. I understand what you're saying, but I don't love that comment.
We've got other players to do that. It's not.
But then
it's never been his strength.
The concern there could be that Stringer doesn't really do a lot defensively, and if you throw another guy. Yeah, but you can't leave it all up to Das and Merritt to do all the defensive things.
Das could do it all.
Yeah, I disagree with you there, buddy. I understand what you're saying. He's still got to be defensive, but
yeah. I'm not saying he can just not worry about his defensive side at all. But if you're going to say what is Dylan Shield's strength, it's definitely an attacking sided game.
Yep.
So in your first game back, champ, then maybe that's your influence. I doubt whether
getting forward and kicking goals.
Not so much kicking goals, but he's quick.
Or setting goals up.
He can run forward a bit more, maybe.
I
don't know. If there's any question mark over his fitness, he shouldn't be playing. So,
there should be. I don't think it's a question mark over his fitness. I don't think fitness is the issue. It's the fact it'll be touch. It'll be the fact that it'll be the first time he's played football in 17 rounds.
Yeah.
So training is very different to football in that the pace of the game and the tackle, it's very different to training. So that's where he's a very good player. I'm sure he'll still be fine, but he won't be at his best.
Yes, so he may as well not be at his best going forward than defensive. Okay. That's, I guess, where I'm going with that.
Fair enough.
And I've still got those question marks in my mind, so I'd rather see him just be attacking and damaging that way than perhaps turning liability going the other way.
Personally, I'm still wondering if there'll be a slight role change, is one of the things I'm thinking about.
Well, to what?
Because of Parrish being such a good in and under midfielder, which was basically Parrish couldn't get in that role because of Shield was in the role. So if they're pushing Shield out to a wing, that changes the other structure of things. Guys like Cox.
Well, it does kind of work though because Langford's not there.
Exactly, it does work, and that's why. Ham was sort of on the wing last week, and that's why I sort of assume that for me, Ham goes out, Shield comes in because that's the replacement, and Shield plays sort of a half-forward winger sort of role. Yeah. I don't know. I guess it's one of those things we'll see because we're not the coaching staff, but I do hope that he's pushed not away from Das, but him and Das will work well because it'll be because now Das is almost the better player.
Better on form, he is the better.
Yeah. So Das is the big, the big dog, you could say. So I don't know. It'll be just interesting, I guess.
I mean, we're assuming Shield even plays, but can he play as a forward? Can he play as a small forward at 182?
No. He can't play as a forward.
So he's got to play as a mid.
He's got to play as a mid. Personally, I think he's a winger.
Yeah,
because he can run. He's a well conditioned.
Pretty sure you told me I was wrong when I called him a winger before, but we'll move on.
No, I didn't say you were wrong. I said, well, that's not the role he's played before. That's why I'm interested.
This is why I'm excited to see him on the wing, and because that's where
Right.
he can probably play his best football.
I'm interested to see it too. If it happens,
If it happens,
we're just guessing. We're purely speculating that that'll be the role. What happens if Parrish goes forward and Shield takes this midfield role?
Well, I don't want to see Parrish out of that midfield.
But what if they do that? They wouldn't, would they?
I would be microwaving my membership. Be cutting it up. There's no way. There's no way Dust comes out of that midfield.
No, but okay. I guess part of this is like the bigger picture is for me is when all these other guys come back. Like let's talk Caldwell could be back soon too. Is another one.
Yes.
I don't know how far away McGrath is. I know Langford will be back possibly next week. That's about right, isn't it?
Langers, yeah, should be next week. Yeah.
So I'm really interested with the last 10, 12 weeks of football with how Parrish has gone, is how they set this midfield, this mid sort of six up. You know, I'm really interested in it. I think there's quality players in all those roles, but I'm interested to see where they put them all.
Yeah, fair enough.
I know I've gone off the sort of GWS part here because I think a bigger picture for me at the moment is not the win or the loss. I've got to the point of the season, and you might disagree or agree with this, that I'm not worried about the results now. I'm worried about how we play and moving into next year because I know there's been a bit of talk about we're in the 8 at the moment, which is exciting. But do we want to be in the 8 at the end of the year? There's been a lot of conversations about guys like Hooker, for next year and all that sort of stuff. And I guess it's starting to, sink in that we're nearing the end of this year. There's 5 rounds left, five games left. Results, how much do they matter as opposed to, what we've seen so far and where we think we're going? I guess I'm looking at the bigger picture. I've started moving on from the end of year results, games, win and loss. I still have to win games, but I'm starting to think about things from about next year, really.
I think to say that you worry about how we play more than the result. If we play good football, given the teams we play, we should win enough games to get in finals.
Yep, agreed.
That's where we're at right now. If we don't play good enough football, we won't make finals, and that's fine.
Yeah.
If we do play good enough football, then we may well end up playing finals. But I see your point in that given finals is never the expectation, and it's not what we really need to be worrying about. But if we're going to sit here and want us to play good football, then the target should be finals at this point because we're sitting there right now in 8th. So,
and you're right.
From the broader perspective, this game is a should win, must win. Mm-hmm. It would be more of a should win if we were in Melbourne.
Oh, yeah, I really would have liked it to have been played at Marvel in front of, I don't know, 40,000. Yeah.
But yeah, if we're playing good football, then we need to be winning games like this. There's not a lot we can do now in terms of changing it up. I don't expect any massive surprises in terms of positioning or anything like that. So we're going to keep doing what we've been doing all year and keep building on whatever style or what the style is that Truck wants us to play.
Yeah.
So no one's going to be disappointed if we don't play finals. But right now, when you're sitting in 8th spot, that needs to be...
You're thinking that you can.
That needs to be the goal, ultimately.
Yeah, you're right.
Just quickly, as a small little side note, there was a bit of news last night floating around about a certain ex-premiership defender. Dual premiership defender in Alex Rance playing for the Essendon VFL side. It was just a sort of story saying he's considering playing for the Essendon VFL.
Why?
The man might want to come back to football. I don't know. I don't know why. Rance, if you're listening, give me a call.
Why would he call you, mate?
I know, it's a joke.
I know it's a joke, but why wouldn't he call me?
Because have you seen your head?
Getting that way, are we?
Yeah.
It's late in the chat and things have turned on. We've turned on each other. Also on that, the VFL game will be on KO.
Yes. So when is that?
I believe it's at 12:30 or something like that.
When?
Sorry.
What day?
Sorry.
Please, what day?
Well, Sunday. 12:30 Sunday. For people that I will try and watch that, I think, because you know, I like
12
to watch
o'clock.
the
12
o'clock.
o'clock against Southport, who are second on the ladder. So,
Ooh.
and we are not very good in the VFL this year because all of our depth is playing AFL. But
Okay. For the kids at
that'll be
home.
interesting if Rance does line up for our VFL side. And if he is maybe kind of sort of thinking about playing football again, that's an interesting conversation, but not one for today. Lastly, can I have a tip?
Well, we've got to do the tip with Nathan, Sam.
Can I have a tip, please?
Is it wrong to pick GWS?
No, you can pick who you like. It's a free country.
Look, I think it's going to be a hard game to win. I would have preferred it being down here in Melbourne. We don't play very good football up there. They're an anomaly. You know the word.
Yes.
Because I've watched them play really good football. Like, last week against Sydney, they were up by 6 goals at one stage and then lose it. So I don't know.
So if I can just ask you again.
Thanks, Sam.
For a tip, please.
Essendon by 2.
After all that, you still tip us. All right.
I have to.
I'm looking forward to us playing against a good side. I think we do still have a little bit of this. We play to the opponent, or to the quality of our opponent a little bit. So I'm hoping that playing against a better side, we can play some better football. I will say us by 18. No, 8. I don't know why I added the 10. Just 8. I think it'd be close.
So 8 or 18? Sorry.
8.
Okay.
I think if we sit here on Sunday night, whenever we do the recap.
Well, it won't be Sunday night because we're playing at 6 freaking
30.
Just a shocking time. I'd like to bring that up actually before we close this out. Who plays football at 6:30 on Sunday? Like, I know Western Australian teams do it because I don't know what time it is over there. I'm always confused. But that's dinner time on a Sunday night. Like, that's family roast time. Like, I'm going to struggle to watch this game. I like to put in a complaint.
Same. We're going to be watching the replay and then having to talk about the replay, which God forbid we lose.
It's ridiculous time. It's just a stupid time for football.
Anyway, if we sit here on whenever we talk about the game and it was a close game and we lose to a GWS side who do actually turn up and play good football, I don't think it's the end of the world. But
I agree. I don't think it will be the end of the world.
It is a game that I think I expect to win, which is always dangerous.
Oh, yeah. I guess as an Essendon supporter, you sometimes go in with that mindset of it should win everything. But for me, it's going to be just about how we play and stuff like that. I'm going to be trying to remain about that, not get angry about the result.
Yeah.
Because it's a bigger picture is happening right now.
There is a much bigger picture, and
I see it.
Fully right. But I still want to win games of football.
Yeah, I agree. I think we should beat them because we've been more consistent than them. But that means
there's more coming to that.
It means piss all really when it comes down to it.
Yeah, correct. All right, that'll wrap up. Bit of
What do you want to close it out with, Sam?
Bit of paperwork. I was going to say. I can't remember what the word is.
Bit of housekeeping.
Housekeeping. Thank you.
Jesus Christ.
Paperwork. That's what it's called now.
You freaking idiot.
Bit of housekeeping. We are now called the Sam and Nath Footy Podcast, still associated with the Glory and Fame Facebook page, just with a slightly different name. The beard is representative of the wonderful mob of hair on Nathan's chin. I wish I could grow a beard like that.
Sam will have one of a young boy with a goatee that's kind of look like bum fluff. We'll try and find that.
I think bum fluff's harsh.
Is it?
Yeah. But anyway, Sam and Nath Footy Pod. If you'd like to hit a subscribe button, that'd mean a lot to us both. And
chance to win a T-shirt.
Not yet. We'll get to that. Please don't give too much away just yet.
It's just my old T-shirts. Like there's nothing that's going to be exciting. We'll give them away.
It's just a funny Nath for 5.
We can sign both of them. People would love that.
There's a unique piece of memorabilia no one's going to care about.
We could give away old undies.
Oh, far out. On that note, we'll chat to you on Monday. Have a good weekend. Go Dons.
Yeah, go Dons.